for section 5.4, this is the back of the worksheet. Is segment BD a median of triangle ABC? Is it an altitude? Is it a perpendicular bisector? Well, it would be a median if it touches a vertex and it touches a midpoint. So it's definitely a median. Is segment BD an altitude? It would be an altitude if it touches a vertex and it has a right angle. So it's an altitude. Is it a perpendicular bisector? It would be a perpendicular bisector if it has that right angle and touches a midpoint. This is a great example of all three. This segment is all three of these. Number 16. It definitely touches a vertex, but notice the other things you need. You needed point D to be a midpoint, and it isn't. So if it's not a midpoint, that can't be a median, and it can't be a perpendicular bisector. Also, there's no right angle. If there's no right angle, it can't be an altitude, and it can't be a perpendicular bisector. So that's none. We can't prove that it's any of those things. It could be if we knew more information, but that certainly doesn't look like a midpoint. That certainly doesn't look like a right angle. Number 17. Point D is the centroid of triangle ABC. Your friend wants to find the distance from D to E. The median, B to E, has a length of 24. So if this whole thing has a length of 24, I immediately know that that's 8, and I know that that's 16. 24 divided by 3 gives me 8. That would always be that small piece. And then 8 times 2 would be this longer piece, 16. Find and correct the error, explain your reasoning. D to E, that's this little guy, would be 2/3 of the distance from B to E. So if you take 2/3 of 24, do you get 8? No, you get 16. What they did was they found this instead of this. Okay, so really what you should have here is you should have 1/3 there. And that'll give you 8 there. 18 and 19 is about roof trusses. Some roof trusses are built using several triangular wooden trusses. Find the altitude or height of the truss. So the altitude would be this guy as long as that's a right angle. And it should be. If the carpenter building your truss is a decent carpenter, that should be a right angle. Hypotenuse is 15, one of the legs is 9. What's the altitude? I know my triples. I know 3, 4, 5 times 3 gives me 9, 12, 15. How far down from point D is the centroid of triangle DEF? So how far down do we have to get to point E? Well, they didn't call it point E. That would be the centroid, maybe. Well, if this whole thing is 12, then this would be 4, and this would be 8. 4 plus 8 gives me that 12. Remember, 4 is 1/3 of the whole thing, the 12. So from point D down to the centroid, we better move 8 units.